Hi, Brad. Thank you so much for being a part of the Added Sport webcast series. We really appreciate you taking out the time to share some of your experiences with all of our budding Asian golfers out there. It would be great if we could start with you sharing a little bit about your coaching and golfing background with us.
Yeah, sure. I was in the club side of it. So I worked at the Riviera Country Club in Los Angeles, where I was a golf instructor there. That's the home of the LA Open. So I had a chance to be around a lot of the tour players. Also, I was at TPC Scottsdale, where they have the Phoenix Open every year,
Mm-hmm.
and Oakmont Country Club. So I've been pretty active as far as being on the golf side of things, which I think lends well to being a college coach. Um, then I eventually got into the coaching side. I was at Skidmore College. We made the NCAA championships, and then had a chance to work at NYU actually as an assistant about 4 years ago. Then got a head coaching job in Mississippi, where I took the team. We were ranked when I started, I think, 100th in the country, and we got to 23rd in the nation.
Wow,
So it
that's
was
great.
huge for us. We also had a girls team, which was the last ranked team in Division III golf, and we were able to get to top 50 in the nation. So we really took those two programs to a new level. And after that success there was an opening at NYU, and they contacted me to be their head golf coach. So my wife and me moved back from Mississippi to New York City, and here I am now. So, as our first year here, we've already jumped. The men's team was, I think, ranked 115th in the country at the beginning of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Now I believe we're 45th,
Okay.
43rd. We should be ranked higher, but it takes a while to move up in the rankings. I think by the end of next semester, we should definitely be in top 30s. As far as the women's team, we're ranked 16th in the country,
Mm-hmm.
and hopefully we'll be competing for a national championship on that side. So that's kind of been hopefully the short side of my golf background.
That's wonderful. Thank you for sharing. So I'm going to ask you a couple questions, and we can start with the most basic one. If you could just share what a typical week looks like for an NYU student athlete.
Yeah, so the golfers obviously, being at NYU, have a lot of academics that they're focused on, and that's their main priority. That's the great thing with Division III golf is they're a student first.
Mm-hmm.
Golf, we want to be competitive, we want to be really good, but obviously academics are definitely the first thing they're focused on. Um, the class schedules, usually the kids, for as far as the golfers, load up on classes on Monday and Wednesday, and then they have a light class schedule on Tuesday and Thursday mornings.
Okay.
We usually leave around practice 12:30 on Tuesday. We'll go to a golf course, and we're going to work on short game. We have a station for chipping, a station for bunker play. We also have a putting station, and we also have a station for hitting on the range. So we have those three stations on Tuesdays. Wednesdays, we go to Chelsea Piers, which is over on the Hudson River, and hit balls from 7:30 to 8:30 at night on Wednesdays. Thursdays, we go to the golf course. That's when we're playing either our qualifiers for the weekend, or we're just playing an 18-hole practice round. So the qualifiers will determine who actually plays in the tournaments. So
Mm-hmm.
Friday we leave for tournaments, play a practice round Friday, and then the tournaments are usually Saturday, Sunday.
Got it.
As far as workouts, we do workouts Tuesdays, and I think we're scheduled now Friday mornings around 9 o'clock. We have a personal trainer at NYU, which is great. It gives them the chance to work with someone that's professional, and they have a chance to really get to where they need to be as far as their physical fitness.
So, Brad, what do you think a player should do to, stand out and get noticed by college coaches?
Um, obviously, you've got to be very proactive we get tons of emails, especially at like NYU. You got to figure there's 50,000 applicants. No, this year there was 60,000 applicants to NYU. So there were more applicants to NYU than any other private institution in the world. It's amazing the amount of emails that we get per day. I think on a typical day, I'll get 4 or 5 emails as far as athletes that are interested in playing golf at NYU. So the key is, I think, especially for someone international, working with a recruiting agent like yourself is huge because, you're going to be able to reach out to the coach, you're going to stay on top of things, and that really puts that particular athlete on our radar. So the one thing I would recommend 100% is you have to reach out. Even if you don't hear back from the coach, that doesn't mean he's not interested. It just means that he's got practices to deal with. He's got, a ton of other things that he has to do on a daily basis. And sometimes he falls behind on those emails. So continue to reach out to the coach. I think that's probably one of the biggest keys. The second thing is obviously, we're limited on the number of spots that we can have on the team. So, for the guys' side, honestly, I would like around 9 players. That's it. On the girls' side, probably 10 players. But you have to be a solid player. And that's one of the things, as far as getting on campus, you have to come prepared. You have to become physically fit. You got to be ready to go, and you have to be ready to play right away. So it's not just, getting into the school, getting on the team. It's continuing to really be a standout athlete to provide for the team, because as far as what we do at NYU, once you're here, you have a spot. That's a very rare situation where you have a spot on the team. So, you have to be able to play the best you can to keep that spot. It's a very competitive situation, but definitely just getting a notice, really send out a lot of emails, try to contact them as much as possible.
Got it. So persistence is definitely key.
That's right.
Yeah, got it.
That's right.
Nice. So what do you think are some of the do's and don'ts of the recruiting process?
Yeah, again, the do's, I would just go back to you've got to be persistent. You got to reach out to them. Always get a hold of them. That's the do's. As far as don'ts, I think, anytime you're talking to a coach, I wouldn't be negative about another school. Always be positive. Be completely honest with the coach. If you're looking at another school and, maybe the other school is your top choice, let them know that, because the recruiting process is probably one of the most difficult parts of our jobs. So I think honesty is a huge part of it. I wouldn't, be positive every time you're talking about another school. I wouldn't be negative about another school. Just be positive at all times, because one of the keys is, as far as recruiting trips for me, I really look at how they treat their parents. If they're very respectful to their parents and, they're very kind to other people, then that's something I really like. I have to be with the kid for 4 years, so I want the kid to be, a good person.
Right.
So I think that's another thing that you really have to focus on is, hey, you've got to be a good person. I mean, I want you to be a good golfer, but more importantly, I want you to develop in college. I want you to grow as a person. And then, I want a strong foundation. I want someone who's kind and respectful.
What do you think, personally as a coach, what are the hurdles that you face trying to get in contact with players in Asia and getting, to reach them?
Well, obviously, it's the distance. A lot of times, if we don't have a chance to see you play, that's going to be tough. A lot of times the scores we've seen don't reflect from an Asian, golf course to the States. So if you have a chance to play some tournaments in the United States and you have some tournament scores here, that really helps us, because we can see what you're going to do on a golf course in the States. As far as, NYU, we're lucky in the fact that we've got the financial backing that if we really want to have a chance to maybe go see somebody, we can fly over to Asia. We can fly to Japan. We can fly to India. we have those opportunities. But um, that's probably the biggest hurdle is just the distance. If someone's here in my backyard and, maybe they're playing in California or Nevada or they're playing, even like in New Jersey, I have a short plane ride or a short car trip just to go watch them play. So that's probably the biggest hurdle that we face.
Okay, got it. Um, what do you, I mean, you mentioned this a little bit earlier about, the player you recruit has to be a good person, but what else is NYU specifically looking for in a golfer?
Well, academics are huge here. It's one of the top academic institutions in the world. So, you have to be conscientious with your academics. You have to stay on top of your coursework. Um, we've got tutors available for all athletes. We have AAO office, which monitors grades, that checks with professors. So, that's a huge part of it. I mean, you've got to stay on top of your academics,
Mm-hmm.
especially at NYU. And, if you can take SAT or ACT prep courses, that's also going to be something that's going to benefit you because, you know, the test scores are really important. So that's something that you'll need to really focus on as far as the academic part.
Sure. And finally, is there anything else that you would like to say to all the budding golfers out there?
Yeah, I would just say keep working hard, focus on your short game. That's a huge part of scoring. I see a lot of my players, tee to green, they're pretty phenomenal, but you get around the greens and they struggle. So, I mean, I would really focus on your short game. If you go to a PGA Tour event, you'll notice that most of those guys are going to be hitting, some flop shots. They're going to be hitting bunker shots. They're going to be hitting bump and runs. I would really focus on your short game. That's going to help the most with scoring.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then also trouble shots. That's one area I don't think a lot of golfers focus on a lot. I mean, really put yourself in tough situations and try to get out of it. And the other thing, bogey is good golf. I mean, if you can make a bogey and consistently keep bogey golf, and then you throw in some birdies along with it, you're going to have a good score. What I see is a lot of people, they get that double bogey, and then the pressure starts building, and then they start to push it a little bit, and then another double bogey or triple bogey happens, and then that's when the wheels start falling off the round. So
Mm-hmm.
I really challenge my players and I tell them, hey, bogeys are good golf. If we can just get bogeys and we can consistently keep bogeys and get some birdies in there with some pars, you're going to shoot a good round. So really focus on your trouble shots. Really focus on playing the safe shot sometime and just getting that 5 on a par 4 or getting that 4 on a par 3. And
Mm-hmm.
that's not going to hurt you. Then you can continue forward. But one thing for all junior golfers, work on your short game. Get your putting and get your chipping and get around the greens where you can get up and down most of the time. That's really going to benefit you.
That is solid advice. Thank you so much for taking out the time. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.